A civil lawsuit filed against Garth Brooks yesterday in California makes multiple serious allegations against the singer.
For more than 170 million records sold, stadiums packed with fans, awards that most artists can only dream about. Garth Brooks became one of the biggest names country music has ever seen. But behind the loud cheers and bright stage lights was a story very few people truly understood. At one point, he walked away from the career everyone wanted, choosing something that shocked the entire music world. Why would a man at the very top give it all up? And did that decision save his life or change it forever? Before we uncover the truth, here's a question for you. If you had to choose between your dream career and your family, what would you do? Let me know in the comments. Your answer might be closer to Garth Brooks' story than you think. For millions of fans, Garth Brooks looked unstoppable. Every new album seemed to become a hit. Every concert felt larger than the last. His energy on stage made people feel like they were part of something special. But success often hides struggles that cameras never capture. While the world celebrated the superstar, Garth was quietly facing decisions that would shape the rest of his life. Long before the fame, Garth was simply a young man growing up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Music filled his home from an early age. His mother, Colleen Carroll, was a country singer who had appeared on national television, while his father worked hard to support the family. Their house was full of music, laughter, and friendly competitions, helping Garth build confidence long before he ever stepped onto a real stage. In interviews over the years, Brooks has often credited his parents for teaching him discipline, humility, and the importance of putting family first. At first, becoming a global music star wasn't even part of the plan. Garth loved sports just as much as music and attended Oklahoma State University on a track scholarship. But during college, something began to change. Performing in local bars and small venues gave him a feeling that no competition ever could. Little by little, music became more than a hobby. It became his calling. Still, the road ahead was anything but easy. Nashville wasn't waiting with open arms, and early success didn't come overnight. Rejections, setbacks, and uncertainty tested his belief that he belonged in country music. Yet those difficult years were preparing him for something far bigger than he could imagine. What happened after Garth finally arrived in Nashville would not only change his own life, it would change country music forever. When Garth Brooks arrived in Nashville, he was not treated like a future superstar. He was just another young singer carrying big dreams and a guitar. Record labels were unsure about him. His style was different. He loved traditional country music, but he also brought the energy of rock concerts to the stage. At the time, many people believed country fans would never accept that mix. For a while, it seemed they might be right. Garth struggled to get noticed. He played wherever he could and kept believing that one good chance could change everything. Looking back in later interviews, he often said those early failures taught him patience. They also reminded him that success is rarely instant. But the moment he had been waiting for was much closer than anyone realized. In 1989, Garth released his self-titled debut album. It earned attention, but it was only the beginning. Then came No Fences in 1990. Songs like Friends and Low Places and The Thunder Rolls turned him into a household name almost overnight. Fans loved the stories in his songs because they felt real. They were about everyday people, heartbreak, hope, and second chances. Suddenly, everything changed. Concert tickets sold out within minutes. Albums flew off store shelves. Families who had never listened to country music before were buying Garth Brooks records. According to the Recording Industry Association of America, RIA, Brooks would eventually become one of the best-selling solo artists in American history, with record-breaking certified album sales. His concerts became famous not just for the music, but for the incredible energy he brought to every performance. He ran across the stage, jumped on his speakers, and gave every audience everything he had. Fans felt like they were watching someone who truly loved what he did. But with every new record broken, the pressure grew even heavier. Life on the road meant spending weeks away from home. Fame brought endless interviews, television appearances, and world tours. The schedule that built his career also pulled him farther from the people who mattered most. Behind the smiles, Garth was beginning to ask himself a painful question. Was all this success worth the price? The answer became even more complicated as his family grew. Garth and his first wife, Sandy Mal, welcomed 3 daughters. He wanted to be the father his own parents had been, but being one of the biggest stars in the world made that almost impossible. In later interviews, Brooks admitted that balancing family and fame was one of the hardest challenges of his life. Then came a turning point that few fans expected. In 2000, at the height of his success, Garth Brooks shocked the music world by announcing his retirement from touring. He said he would step away until his youngest daughter turned 18. Many people could not believe it. Walking away from millions of dollars and worldwide fame seemed unthinkable. Yet for Garth, the decision was deeply personal. Public interviews and his later documentary appearances made it clear that he wanted his daughters to grow up with their father present, not just as a face on television. Just when it seemed he had found peace, another chapter was about to begin. His marriage was falling apart, and a new relationship would change his life forever. Before we reveal how those personal changes affected both his family and his legendary career, make sure you subscribe, because the next part uncovers the side of Garth Brooks that many fans have never seen. By the early 2000s, Garth Brooks had done what almost every musician dreams of. He had broken records, filled stadiums, and become one of the biggest names in country music. But while fans saw a man living the perfect life, the reality behind the scenes was much more complicated. Not long after announcing his retirement, Garth and his first wife, Sandy Mal, divorced after nearly 15 years of marriage. Both later spoke publicly about how difficult it had been to balance a marriage with the demands of a career that kept Garth away from home for long periods. Their story became a reminder that fame can bring success, but it cannot guarantee happiness. Still, Garth stayed true to the promise he had made. Instead of chasing more records, he focused on raising his 3 daughters. He attended school events, helped with everyday family life, and tried to give his children the kind of childhood they deserved. In interviews, Brooks has often said those years were some of the most meaningful of his life. The man who once performed for tens of thousands of people found joy in doing ordinary things that many parents take for granted. But life had another surprise waiting for him. For years, fans had noticed the close friendship between Garth Brooks and fellow country superstar Trisha Yearwood. They had worked together on music and shared a deep respect for each other. After both experienced major changes in their personal lives, that friendship slowly grew into love. In 2005, Garth proposed to Trisha in front of thousands of fans during a public event in California. Later that year, they were married. Their relationship quickly became one of country music's most admired love stories. Trisha also built a close bond with Garth's daughters, something Brooks has often spoken about with gratitude. For a while, it seemed life had finally found its balance. Then came another turning point. With his daughters growing older, fans began asking the same question over and over. Would Garth Brooks ever return to the stage? At first, nobody knew the answer. He had kept his promise to his family, but returning to music after so many years carried enormous risk. The music industry had changed. New artists dominated the charts. Some wondered if the world had simply moved on. They were wrong. When Garth returned to performing, the response was overwhelming. Tickets disappeared within minutes. Fans of every age came to see him. His comeback tours became some of the highest grossing in country music, proving that his connection with audiences had never faded. His later albums also found commercial success, showing that his storytelling still touched millions. But even as his career entered a new chapter, not everything was smooth. In recent years, Garth has faced criticism and public controversy, including debates over business decisions and a serious legal allegation that he has strongly denied. As with any public figure, these events brought intense media attention, while the legal matters continue to follow the appropriate process. They reminded everyone that even beloved celebrities can find themselves under an unforgiving spotlight. Many people watching right now may be going through a season where life feels uncertain. Garth Brooks' journey shows that success does not erase hardship. Every person, no matter how famous, faces moments that test their character. What matters most is how they respond when life changes direction. And at 64, Garth Brooks' story is no longer just about records, awards, or sold-out concerts. It's about the legacy he hopes to leave behind, and why many fans believe his greatest achievement had nothing to do with music.